My name is Jackie McLean, and today we're going to talk about Success Starts Here. Start with a little housekeeping. Let you know that the webinar is being recorded and the presentation will be emailed to you. If you have any questions, please type it into the chat and I'll answer the questions at the end of the presentation. The presentation is nowhere near an hour long, so there will be plenty of time for questions at the end. So please feel free to go ahead and put those in there. Before we start, I'll tell you a little about myself. I do have 30 years worth of experience in higher education administration, generally dealing with various legal issues, dealing with either human resources or public safety. But the real reason that I do these presentations and am involved in SCORE is because I grew up in a small business family. My family owned the neighborhood grocery store. My mom was the bookkeeper for the neighborhood flower shop. And my first jobs were in those businesses. And I know what it's like to live in a household where you're trying to get by with starting small business income. So I'm very pleased to be working with SCORE and hope that you find the material we provide helpful. So let's talk a little bit about today is Success Starts Here. It is the first of two classes that we offer in the idea stage. SCORE is a volunteer organization, which in addition to offering training programs such as this, provides free one-on-one mentoring to small business owners and those who wish to start a small business. Welcome you to this first session if you're thinking about starting a business. This session will introduce some key business considerations so that you can reach the decision on how to best proceed. We do offer two classes in this idea phase, and we offer those monthly, and the next one is 102, which will be offered this month on May 23rd. We also offer classes in the planning stage, and we are building on to our education program. So keep watching the SCORE.org Capital Corridor webpage for future courses. Let's talk a little bit about what you're going to learn today. We're going to cover the myths and realities of entrepreneurship. We're also going to talk about the critical success factors and the components of business ownership. It's always a great feeling to think that you're going to start a business, but starting a business requires a lot of understanding and a lot of hard work. And this course is designed to try and help you get into the areas that you need to think about in the business of starting your business. This presentation offers you an opportunity to test the feasibility of your business ideas. Some people have more than one idea, and this will help you sort out which one might be the best to move forward. If you only have one idea, this will be a presentation that will help you see if you're ready to take that next step to invest both time and money into your business. So let's start out looking at some of the myths and realities of entrepreneurship. The first myth we're going to explore is the belief that all you need is a good idea to be a successful entrepreneur. The reality is that a good idea is a great start, but it takes hard work, research, and planning, plus successful implementation strategies to turn your idea into a profitable business, which you can use to support your family. The second myth we're going to take a look at is the belief that you won't have to work so hard or work such long hours when you own your own business. The reality is that you'll probably work harder and longer than you ever worked before, but you'll enjoy it more. Exhaustion fades at the moment when you can say, I did this. An entrepreneur carries a tremendous amount of responsibility, and you can expect to work around the clock the first year, or maybe even two. Remember, you're no longer going to have paid vacations or sick leave. So if you get the flu and you don't have measures in place to keep your business running, it can have a financial impact on you and the success of your business in the long run. It's difficult work, but the reward can outweigh the sacrifices that you make. So think carefully about the time and money that you're willing to put into the business before you move forward. The next myth we're going to look at is the belief that you'll be able to deduct everything so you won't have to pay any taxes. The reality is that taxes are based on net income, which can be lowered by subtracting expenses related to the business from gross income. Strict regulations apply, however, so you must keep good records and learn how to make the tax system work for you. There are many benefits to owning your own business, and you'll likely have many tax write-offs. But it's also important that you keep excellent records and separate business bank account, and you should do that from the very beginning. It's wiser to work with an accountant who can help you maximize your tax strategy. I often suggest to my clients that even if you intend to keep your own books because of financial considerations or because you just want to do it, it's wise to hire an accountant just to set up your books so that you're in compliance with all the laws that you are required to be in compliance with at the local, federal, and state levels. You need to be careful how you pay yourself in the business because that will affect your taxes. In most states, you have the choice of whether you want to pay yourself as an independent contractor or as an employee. However, in California, after AB 5 was passed and became effective in 2020, it's doubtful that the owner of a business can meet the test of an independent contractor because you have to meet all three aspects of the ABC test. And one of those aspects is that your work performing is not the central work of the business. And that's just not going to be true if you're the business owner. Next, we're going to look at the belief that you won't have a boss. The reality is that you don't have a single boss, you have many. There are your clients, your customers, each of whom have specific needs and demands. Your challenge is to keep all of them happy. There's an old saying that the customer pays the bills, and this is never more true than when you work for yourself. While you may not have one boss handing down orders, you will have to answer to your customers. Keep in mind that you'll also be accountable to the government at the local, state, and federal levels, plus any investors or people from whom you borrow money, suppliers, vendors, creditors for the supplies and materials you need to carry out your business. And the reality is all of those people have a piece of you and act as your boss in one way or another. I'd also add that in many cases, your own employees direct your actions and therefore kind of act as bosses too. So you need to realize that you have to pay attention to the wants and needs of all of those individuals. The fifth myth we're going to look at is that you're going to get to do only the work you want to do and find interesting. In reality, we're going to say this several times today. You have to wear many hats and juggle many skills, some of which may be boring to you or downright challenging. Most entrepreneurs, especially those in the early years, will tell you there's more work than glamour to their daily lives. Because you will have to wear so many hats, you will ultimately carry the bulk of responsibility. And depending on your budget and how much help you can afford to hire, You may have a wide variety of responsibilities, ranging from taking out the trash to negotiating with vendors, managing employee issues, dealing with insurance, shipping orders, handling emergencies, and the list goes on and on. So you need to be ready to embrace all of those responsibilities. The sixth myth we're going to look at is that I'll be limited in what I can achieve since I'll be working alone. And the truth of the matter is that the limitations that are created are mostly created by the space between your ears. It's what you think you can do that is going to impact what you can actually do. Be realistic, but don't trap yourself into self-imposed limitations. You can make a difference. Starting your own business actually unlocks all kinds of possibilities for your future. You can take control of your own destiny because you decide how hard you want to work, which paths you want to choose, and how successful you want to be. That's the entire list of myths that we're going to talk about. Let's talk about a little bit of things that you need to consider. This is the biggest reality of for business owners. 24% of businesses fail within the first 2 years, according to the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That means that 76% of businesses are successful after 2 years. Let's take a look at what happens if you look at a 5-year cycle. And you're going to find that the fact is that about half of businesses will fail within the first 5 years. There are a lot of reasons why businesses fail, but the 4 main reasons we're going to talk about are the lack of planning, the insufficient capitalization at startup. Do you have enough money to actually get your business up and running? Mismanagement of cash flow. Do you understand how resources come in and how they go out of your business and how you balance those one against the other? And the 4th big reason that businesses fail is improper pricing. And to do proper pricing, you have to look at the area where you are, the product you're selling or providing, and the competition and what kind of pricing they are providing. These are important considerations that you can tackle now. In this course, we're going to talk about them. Proper planning is essential to setting your business up to success. So let's take a look at whether you actually have what it takes, those things that we call critical success factors. The first of these is a good choice of time and location. And I think that we all had a good lesson in why this is important with the arrival of COVID. I had several clients who were just ready to open the doors of their businesses, and COVID came along and shut down the majority of businesses that involved any kind of face-to-face contact. There are other things that happen in terms of what's happening in your own community. What is the crime level, what is the change in the demographic of the community, and what's going on in the local or national economy. All of those things affect the choice of time and location to open your business. Another critical factor is adequate capitalization. We talked about the fact that the lack of having adequate capitalization is one of the 4 main reasons that business fail. So you need to spend careful time calculating what you're going to actually need to get your business up and running and what you're going to need to keep the doors open until you begin to make an income from your business. A third critical factor is the ability to manage and multitask. You're probably going to get tired of hearing me talk about how many things you have to do as the business owner. But it really is important to know that you're going to have to do all of these things at the same time and to focus on the actual management of your business and what it's going to take to keep your business running. Another critical factor is education or experience in the field. You don't have to have a lot necessarily of education experience, but you have to have enough to know what you're talking about. We talk about people who say, I have a good spaghetti recipe and my friends want me to open a business, a restaurant. And the first thing we ask them is if they've ever run a restaurant before, if they've ever cooked for a large number of people, if they've ever supervised and scheduled employees. All those kinds of experience are critical to the success of opening a restaurant. So you need to think about what experience you have and what education you have that will support entry into your business. You need to have a very strong work ethic. And again, this goes back to how much you're going to have to do and how much responsibility you're going to have. You can't do that if you're not committed to working hard. And I can guarantee if you're not committed to working hard to start your business up, it is probably not going to succeed. You have to have effective time management. And that's a little bit different from managing and multitasking. You have to know how to set priorities, determine what needs to be done first, what can be put on the back burner, and how can you fit all of the tasks that you need to do this week into this week's calendar. That's effective time management, and it's going to be critical to the success of your business. The last factor that we're going to talk about as a critical success factor is the willingness to ask for input from others. And I'm going to expand this and say not only the willing to ask for input, but the willingness to listen and weigh and evaluate the input that you get. And when wise, to take that input and use it to move your business forward. These are all critical success factors. Let's look next at what you as the business owner need to have as characteristics. And you're going to find a lot of overlap with the success factors. You have to be a self-starter. There's not going to be anybody pushing you every day to say, okay, time to open the doors, let's get going and let's get everything done. That has to come from within you. You need to be resourceful. I know of almost no business that doesn't at some place face some sort of a emergency or crisis, whether it's economic, supply flow, employee issues, some sort of issue or problem is going to come up. And you need to be resourceful to know how to work your way around that. I call it being nimble. You need to be ready to take what kind of action you need to move forward in the face of those things that happen and affect the operation of your business. You have to be responsible. Nobody else is going to take responsibility for the overall success of your business. That's going to land on you. So you need to think about it on an everyday basis. Organized, we talk about good time management and we talked about multitasking. All of those things require an organized worker who knows how to prioritize things and how to get things done. That's also not going to happen unless you are a hard worker. And persistent. Persistent and resourceful are very similar, but resourcefulness means that you know things that you can do to move you forward. And persistence means your willingness to do those things in the face of challenges that you face in the everyday operation of your business. You have to be decisive. I've always told my employees and I tell my clients, the second best decision made in time is better than the best decision made too late. Sometimes things move pretty rapidly in business, and you have to be able to think on your feet, Make the decision to move forward. And sometimes you just have to go with the best thing that you can think of to move you forward. We included in this list the need to be healthy. We've talked about how hard you're going to have to work, all the stress that is going to be applied to you, and you can't really deal with all those things if you don't have your own personal health. The last thing that's on this list is a supportive family. And I've modified that to say supportive family or a supportive group of friends or relatives that are willing to help you with business, even if it's only listening to the challenges that you're facing and helping to get your head on straight so that you can move forward. We've talked about this so many times. I want to take a look at actually the types of hats that you're going to have to wear. The hats that we are showing here are the typical departments and functions that are involved in most businesses. The important things you have to consider is, do you have any weaknesses in any of these areas? For example, if you're uncomfortable working with numbers, perhaps you should plan to hire a bookkeeper or take a class in accounting before you open the door to your business so that you're able to improve your skills and be effective in that area. You need to know how you envision your business being structured, not only now, but in the future. Organizational charts for small businesses rarely have individuals in each of these boxes at the start of the business. You're going to have one or more persons doing several of these operations in your business when you start out. But hopefully you're going to be able to grow and expand the support that you have. So you need to think about which of these boxes you want to fill first and which you want to wait until later. The next slide that I'm showing you is just a book that many of our mentors recommend. It's called Delegation, the Key to Leadership. And it is just one book that's out there. There are thousands of books about business management, but understanding what you can delegate, how much direction you have to give when you delegate, and how you follow up on that delegation to make sure that the tasks get completed is a very critical part of making your business successful. So in addition to your own strengths and these critical factors, what do you need to think about to start your business? One of the big things you need to consider are the financial considerations. And we talked about undercapitalization being one of the major causes for business failure. You need to start this process by looking at your own personal finances. Are you ready financially to start a business? Determine what your monthly budget is. This includes your mortgage, rent, groceries, entertainment, utilities, childcare, medical care, clothing, gifts, allowances, every dollar that you spend. You need to sit down and look at several months and look at what percent of your money you're spending in each one of these categories. Then you need to consider whether you should scale back in any of the areas on your monthly expenses by eliminating extras, things such as premium cable, or maybe having a Keurig at home or a coffee pot at home and not going to that coffee shop down the street to buy a coffee every morning. You need to understand that your outstanding personal debt will affect your ability to get a loan and your ability to pay back any loan or money that you borrow to start your business. So you need to think about that outstanding debt and how it will move along as you move forward with your business. You need to analyze how much money you have in savings. It is important to know that you've got somewhere between 6 and 12 months of expenses covered by your savings or the money that you have. If you're making a decision to quit your job and pursue your business, you need to make sure you have at least 6 months of living expenses. And I would say 12 months is more realistic. Also, you need to consider whether you ought to think about starting your business on the side and maintain your current job. Sometimes a slow start is the best way and the safest way to reach a successful operation. After you've looked at your personal finances, you need to consider whether you have financial resources available to you to cover the essential costs for starting your business. Including in these essential costs are tools and equipment that you will need to start your business. You need to know how much you're going to need because you can't properly launch your business if you don't understand what the financial requirements are. You're going to have whatever tools and equipment you need to move your business forward, whether you're providing a service or selling a product. You're going to have a place to do business. It might be a room in your house. It might be a space you lease. It might be some place you buy or own. If you're going to lease a space to open your business, you need to think about what kind of leasehold improvements you might have to make the space usable for your type of business. If you're making leasehold improvements, it's important to talk with the person who actually owns the physical structure to see whether they're willing to invest any money at all in the improvements, and sometimes they are, whether they expect the improvements to remain in the business should you leave their space and open your own space someplace else. And if they expect them to be removed, are they going to expect you to pay the cost of removing and getting them out? Sometimes the investment in leasehold improvements is a significant part of opening your door. It can be a negative thing, but it can also be a positive tool because you can use the amount of money that you're investing in the space, which someone else owns, to negotiate either a better rental rate or a longer lease with the person who owns that business. Additional expenses you need to consider are licensing and permits that you're going to need. In the state of California, the governor has a small business page. You can get to it by typing Go Biz, B-I-Z, or Cal Gold. And if you go to that website, there's a place where you can enter the zip codes of every county in which you intend to do business. And you will receive a list of all the permits and licenses that are required to do your type of business in that county. So it's a very good resource for you to identify up front what kind of expenses you're going to have in the area of licenses and permits. You may also have expenses in the area of professional fees to keep yourself certified as a PTA or to keep yourself certified in the delivery of extermination chemicals may require frequent recertification, which bears some sort of cost as a professional fee. You need to think about what kind of initial inventory you have. If you're buying a business, you need to analyze that inventory and see whether it's going to meet all of your needs or whether you're going to have to add additional items. And if so, how much that's going to cost you over the purchase cost of the existing business. You also need to have a working capital reserve fund. We've talked before about the fact that every business experiences some sort of crisis, whether it be small or large. And it's important that you have sufficient working capital in a reserve fund to cover those problems that come up. The type of business that you have will largely, I'm going to close the door here because my phone's ringing in the other room. I'm sorry. The type of business that you have will largely determine the kind of funding that is required. And I wanted to just run through the list for you to know the range from high to capitalization to low capitalization in various types of business. The most costly type of business to start is a manufacturing business where you're actually producing a product from the beginning or modifying an existing product in a manufacturing environment. The second most costly type of business to start is a restaurant. And that entails not only buying the space and getting the inventory, but getting sufficient staff and to keep the business running and to provide service to your clients. The third most costly type of business is just a retail service, a brick and mortar. You're going to open the doors and sell a product. Next is a service where you're just providing a service, but you're still going to need tools to provide that service. And the service may, in fact, deliver some products as a part of the service. The cheapest type of business to start is a consulting business because much of the capital is coming from the head of the business owner or those who are working with him or her. So that's kind of the hierarchy of costs that are you need to think about in terms of determining capitalization for your business. Another thing that you need for your business is a business plan. A business plan is required if you intend to seek a loan. And even if you don't, it's an essential exercise. Crafting a business plan causes you to think through all the important details that you might not otherwise consider. It also becomes a roadmap for your business and how it will move forward in the future, and a document that you should revisit frequently and update. Even if you dread the idea of creating a business plan, and understand that it is an important step to starting your business and helping you establish a foundation for your success as an entrepreneur. The things that you get from having a business plan are an objective overview of your business. It becomes the foundation for your future decisions. It's a good management tool for you. And it communicates your ideas, the owner's ideas, to those that you are seeking to either come to work for you and support you, or perhaps provide financial support to help you get your doors open. SCORE utilizes templates to do your business plan. We have a template on the SCORE.org website, and you can use that. We usually begin with the business model canvas. It is a one-page document that helps you organize your thoughts and becomes the basis from which you write your business plan. The business model canvas is introduced in the 102 class that we provide monthly, and we'll give you some examples of how you fill it out and how you use it. Talk a little bit about what your business plan has to include. A cover page includes your logo. If you have a slogan, this is a good place to put it in, along with your logo, and you begin the process of product recognition with the cover page of your business plan. The table of content does exactly what it says. It tells the reader what's included in the document. The executive summary is an overview of the company's inception, its current talent, the talent of the owners and the employers that are currently there, and a map for the success. It has to be a current document. It can't be stated in the terms of wishfulness. It is where we are now and where we intend to go. The executive summary is pretty critical. We recommend that a business plan, the whole plan, only be maybe 10 to 15 pages in length, because you want those that you're reaching out to, perhaps for a loan, to read the whole thing. First thing they're going to do is look at the executive summary. So you need to be sure that you have done an effective job of reflecting where you are and where you intend to go in your executive summary. Section 1 of the actual plan describes the business. What's the business going to produce, or what service are you going to provide? Section 2 is the financial forecast. It's a detailed plan of where the money will come from, how it will be spent, and what growth are you forecasting based on the flow of cash in and out of your business. Finally, Section 3 is just the supporting data. You need to do due diligence and back up what the facts are and where they came from. The real benefit of the plan is it's a roadmap for your business, and it minimizes surprises. Detailed business plans are required by spenders, and we're in the lending market right now. It's very conservative, and it's really important that you have a business plan and at least 2 years of financial projections if you are going to be seeking funding for your business. The writing of the business plan and the development of the financial projections are both tasks that SCORE can help you with. Let's talk about what kind of professional support you need as you start your business. We believe that every business needs a banker, a lawyer, an accountant, an insurance agent, and a business mentor. The banker will, if you have a good relationship with your banker, will assist you in obtaining loans and credits. They may also help you with decide what types of bank accounts you need to meet your business's needs. A lawyer will handle the legal setup of the business entity and any lawsuits that arise. And I'm a lawyer, so maybe I'm prejudiced, but I think it's important to have a relationship with a lawyer from the beginning. When you have litigation, you don't want to be just at that point going out and seeing if you can find someone that you can work with who can argue your case. If you have an existing relationship with a lawyer, even if you only make one appointment to meet him or her and talk about your business, it will put you on one step ahead if you do have to face litigation. An accountant will file your quarterly taxes and keep you up to date on any accounting requirements with federal, state, and county government, and also city government. Again, I emphasize that I think you at least need to have an accountant or someone who is knowledgeable in accounting set your books up, even if you plan to do the bookkeeping yourself. One thing people often don't think about is their insurance agent. A good insurance agent will shop around for the best coverage and pricing for your policies. They'll also tell you how much insurance you need in terms of liability insurance and whether there are other types of insurance that are available that you may want to get in order to protect your business. The last person on this list is a business mentor. A business mentor will guide you through your ideas and will serve as a voice of reason. And of course, we'd like the business mentor to be a SCORE volunteer. But if you don't get a SCORE volunteer, there are other organizations out there that provide mentor services, and you may have a mentor in your own life that will help you by being a sounding board for your ideas. You need to have somebody that's not afraid to tell you that you're off base or heading down the wrong track with your business. This outside voice can help you focus on those things you need to do to move your business to success. So now that we've gone through these aspects, what's the next step that you need to take? Well, we would encourage you to sign up for 102 workshop. That's the one we're going to introduce the business model canvas and some other tools for how you plan ahead for your business. The course is called How to Turn Your Idea to Action, and the next course will be offered on May 23rd at 10 a.m. If you want to sign up for this course, you go to capitalcorridor.score.org, and at the top you'll see a box that says local workshops. You click on that and you will get a list of all of the workshops that we have coming up and the identification of any cost. And I would tell you that 95% of what we provide in terms of workshops are free. We do have fees for some workshops that are pretty detailed, like the QuickBooks, or maybe a full assessment of legal issues. You need to think about what you learned today. Are you ready to move ahead? If not, that's okay, but don't give up on your dream. Stay in touch with us and keep on track for moving your business forward. Successful and experienced executives are SCORE volunteers. We provide seminars, workshops, free mentoring, and resources for small businesses. CapitalScore.org is our local site. SCORE.org is the national site, and I would point out to you that there are hundreds, literally, of recorded training sessions and articles available to you free through these resources. So if you want a mentor, visit SCORE.org, click on Find a Mentor, enter your basics, and you will be contacted by a local mentor quickly. Usually we try and get that done within a day or two after we receive the referral from the national office. I'm going to come back to look here and see. I don't see any questions in the Q&A box or the chat box. I'll wait one more minute to see if there are any questions that anybody would like to put forward. And I'm not seeing anything come up. I want to thank you for coming today. Encourage you to look at 102, reach out to us for a SCORE mentor to help you. We appreciate your trying to learn the things you need to do to make your business succeed. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.